You're watching Cape Media News, brought to you by Cape Media Center.
Tonight on Cape Media News, the annual DY Dolphin Dash.
Plus, a look at this week's candidate forum in Yarmouth.
And two grannies on the road visits Chatham.
These stories and more are coming up next on Cape Media News.
Good evening, it is May 17th, and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Lauren Williamson.
And I'm Mitch Sock. Our top story tonight takes us to DY Regional High School, where they hosted their annual Dolphin Dash last weekend. The 5K event aims to raise money for student athletics and marching band equipment to help ease the cost burden on the students.
So what inspired the inception of the Dolphin Dash was to eliminate user fees for students to participate in athletics, and later it included marching band. We really wanted to create an equitable environment where all kids had access to extracurriculars like athletics and marching band. So, a race is a great way to bring the community together, raise money, and really the ultimate, mission and vision was to eliminate user fees. So things that DY had to offer was open to all students and finances weren't an obstacle.
And it was initiated by Dr. Paul Funk, who was a teacher here, athletic director, and then became principal. Dr. Funk was a football coach and baseball coach, and he was always involved in extracurriculars, and he saw the challenges of user fees and the restrictions they put on students. So it was Dr. Funk's idea, and from the inception, this is our, I believe, 8th or 9th Dolphin Dash, and it continues to support the athletes and marching band students of the high school. We bring in all our funds are collected at the Cape Cod Foundation and are distributed back to the high school. Yearly, it's anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, $18,000 on a yearly basis.
Yeah, and it's a huge help with like transportation and equipment, and every little bit counts, and every little bit helps the students. They look more official, they have better equipment, so it does make a huge difference as part of these programs to just enhance them annually.
And the one thing I would always say, and I want to give a huge shout out not only to our runners and our student athletes, but also to our sponsor, who, if it wasn't for our sponsors, we could not have this race.
Absolutely. With like football and lacrosse, the pads and helmets, those have to get replaced every year by law. It depends on what sport. So absolutely, one year you might have a minimal equipment fee, but then that next year is the year it all needs to get replaced for safety. So that's a heavier lift financially. It's not a huge challenge. It's certainly something we can overcome, but we, again, lean on our local businesses, but we lean on our school community. And I really want to see us be able to lean on the larger community, of the towns and of the whole Cape to participate, because again, this is to benefit kids, and if we rely on them to keep the race going, they're feeling that pressure double. So if we can broaden this to a larger community and get more people involved in participating, that would just, again, benefit the students even more.
This Sunday, May 19th, head to Main Street in Hyannis to enjoy another Hyannis Open Streets. From 12 to 4 p.m., experience live music, puppeteers, face painting, outdoor games, and even miniature ponies. Free parking will be available in the North and South Street parking lots and at the Transportation Center. See you there.
The Massachusetts Office on Disability and Barnstable County Emergency Preparedness Division are hosting an emergency preparedness training session for people with disabilities. This presentation will bring together people with disabilities and emergency preparedness professionals to ensure that everyone has the assistance, resources, and tools to handle emergencies. This training will be held Tuesday, May 21st from 1 to 2:30 in the old jail building in West Barnstable.
Belonging Books has officially launched its book corner at Live Love Local's retail store and headquarters on South Street in Hyannis. Belonging Books is a community program provider and a pop-up bookstore that centers on the voices and stories of people of color and other underrepresented communities. This collaboration brings together two community-focused organizations to provide customers with books celebrating diversity and inclusion.
Attention boat owners, from now until the end of June, you can drop off your boat's plastic wrap at the transfer stations in Bourne, Chatham, Eastham, Falmouth, or Wellfleet. No dump sticker or fee is required. Head to seagrant.hui.edu to get all the info on how to prep your shrink wrap for recycling.
Earlier this month, Chatham was visited by two grannies on the road, a public access TV show based out of Plymouth. We met up with the grannies at Hangar B at the Chatham Airport to learn more about their unique travel show.
I'm Beth.
I'm Marcia.
And we're Two Grannies on the Road. So how we started, that would be me, and it was about 2010, and I had been in business for myself for about 8 years as a web designer. And I was single, and my youngest son was graduating from college. So I was kind of feeling like, geez, you know, I never got to travel across the country with my kids in an RV like I wanted to. And, you know, poor me, I haven't had a vacation in 8 years. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, I have a job that I could do from anywhere. And so maybe I could find a way to travel and work at the same time. And I thought, well, I wouldn't want to do it alone. You know, who could I do it with? And I thought of a friend of mine who was also a grandmother and had her own graphic design business, so she could work from the road. And then the name came to me, Two Grannies on the Road. And so it evolved into a community TV show where we were interviewing baby boomers who had reinvented themselves and telling their stories to inspire other baby boomers to live their dreams, because it's really never too late. And so we did that for a while, and part of the show was always a travel. You know, it was always a travel segment where we would go somewhere and, you know, see the town a little bit and have lunch and whatever. And then it kept evolving, and Ginny retired. And then I had a second granny that I worked with, and she retired and moved to Florida. And so then a few months after that, I met Marcia, and she's the second granny. And I know she has something to say about that. Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know, she talks about these other two women. I've never met them. But she told me I could check her freezer.
Cut. So anyway, yeah, so it was 2019 when I said to the second granny, hey, let's visit every city and town in Massachusetts. And she said, great. So we started doing that, and, you know, COVID shut things down for a little while. But then when Marcia came on board, we picked up. And tell us what you do, Marcia.
I'm the one that gets to organize the days, because we usually try to spend a full day at a town. And I go on Facebook and find a forum about the town and ask the community where we should go. So when the community says we need to go to the Hangar restaurant, that's where we go. And I usually get about 160. And when you keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, it makes a decision. I then always contact the historic societies. Somebody usually tells us we need to go there anyway. Beth gets to do the hard part as far as I'm concerned, and you noticed I'm not volunteering to do it. And she edits the whole show, which takes an awful lot.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. We're having a blast. We are trying to demonstrate to people that it's never too late, you know, to pursue your dreams, and we're pursuing our dreams of traveling. It's, you know what? Traveling in your own state is still traveling, and you can go a half hour away and still find lots of adventures and fun and new things and meet great people. And we're having a blast doing it, and we're kind of ambassadors for tourism in Massachusetts, don't you think?
We are. And we have like 3 things. We visit each town, but we also do events. We went to a sheep shearing festival, and I've never seen that before. Boy, that was really interesting this past weekend. And we're going to go to an asparagus festival. I've never done that either. So we do events, and we speak at different senior centers and libraries, etc. So we feel pretty fortunate to be able to do all those things. And Mass has everything except a desert. It's got ocean, hills, mountains, and of course the ocean.
It's got farms and fields. It's got everything. Get out there and travel in Massachusetts. Start in Chatham and work your way north, and west. Aren't you glad you asked?
Coming up after the break, sports and more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Mitch Zuck.
And I'm Lauren Williamson. On Tuesday, the 21st, the town of Yarmouth will hold their annual elections. 2 seats are open on the select board, and 5 candidates have thrown their hats into the ring. This week, the Cultural Center of Cape Cod hosted a candidates forum moderated by the League of Women Voters of the Cape Cod area. You can watch the full forum on our YouTube channel, but here are a few remarks from the candidates. Take a look.
I'd like to bring people together to really work on these problems. And here's my idea for what I would do if elected for my very first select board meeting. When they reorganized the select board, one of the junior people, sometimes there's only one elected in a given year, is given the appointments responsibility. The appointments responsibility involves interviewing every candidate that's brought up for any town committee with the chair of the town committee. It's not considered a desirable appointment, but I'm retired and I would take it on with zest. I want a big deal of getting everyone involved here. And I want to have a volunteer fair right at the end of the shoulder season for everyone to attend who might be interested in working on a town committee.
I have 20 years of experience, 4 terms elected to the Board of Selectmen, 7 years on the Planning Board, the Community and Economic Development Committee, and a variety of other boards and committees. There's no other candidate that brings this extensive experience to the table. My knowledge is vast and wide-reaching. We are losing 2 current members, and it takes years to get up to speed. I can hit the ground running on day 1. I'm a proven leader that has always treated everyone with respect. I have a thorough understanding of Chapter 70 education and municipal finance. There are difficult choices and finite resources, but we must live within our means. We need to invest in business and grow our tax base. I've always taken my responsibilities serious. I show up prepared. I'm visible in the community. I put the time in, and I don't just want a title. This job is not all sunshine and rainbows. There are tough decisions to be made.
What I would like to see is through concise and complete presentations by parties before the board and by logical and timely decision-making by the board, we can make the town more attractive to businesses, visitors, while providing our taxpayers an efficient and effective government and environment. And as Joy said, I would like to see Yarmouth become a fun town again. I grew up here in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. This was a destination town. I remember piling all my college friends into the car. We'd come here every weekend. It wasn't an offshoot of Hyannis. There was plenty to do here. I think now with the expanded police and fire departments, we can control what people do, where they go. I miss Yarmouth being fun. And although I like miniature golf, I can only play it so many times.
I too love this community, and my family, as Joyce and Keith said, have been here since the late 50s. We've hired over 3,000 people in this community for our business. I believe our commercial tax rate, is very low. We have a 4% commercial tax rate. Residents pay 92% commercial tax rate. Out of the 351 communities in our Commonwealth, the average is 80-20. So I believe that we can move that number. Back when I was small and Tracy just got her license, we were about 17%. So we have gone down, down, and down, and I don't think we can go down anymore. If we want this wastewater, and we need wastewater, and we don't want to pay for it as a resident, we got to get some more businesses here. And I think that will happen. The wastewater will provide opportunity, but it also provides a clean environment. We are very much contaminated with nitrogen, and we got to get rid of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. For those of you that didn't know before, my name is Jenny Wheeler.
I chose to run because I love where I live and I love what I do. But I know that we face a lot of challenges, and I'm not afraid of hard. If I was afraid of hard, I wouldn't do what I do. I'm not afraid of hard, but it requires collaboration. It requires listening. It requires bringing more people to the table. And it requires not necessarily doing what's been done for years and years and years. The Family Table Collaborative was voted one of the best places to work on Cape Cod in 2023. We have 600 plus volunteers. That, I believe, shows that my track record is building teams. It's bringing people together. It's listening to be able to help solve some of these issues.
The Barnstable Transfer Station Swap Shop will be reopening next month. The Swap Shop offers residents with transfer station stickers the opportunity to drop off and pick up various used items. Acceptable items include books, pots and pans, bicycles, children's toys, lamps, and small knickknacks. Ahead of its long-awaited reopening, the town of Barnstable is looking for volunteers. If you are interested in volunteering at the Swap Shop, fill out the volunteer application at townofbarnstable.us/departments/solid waste.
The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy's Shark Center in Chatham has officially opened for the season. The center offers immersive educational experiences to engage families and individuals in shark conservation and appreciation. Tomorrow, Saturday the 18th, their STEM-based educational girls group is having its first meeting of the season. The Gills Club is an initiative dedicated to connecting girls with female scientists from around the world to inspire the next generation of shark and ocean advocates. The meeting will be held from 9 a.m. to 10:30, and for more information, you can head to atlanticwhiteshark.org.
Congratulations to the Mercy Otis Warren Cape Cod Woman of the Year, Cindy Jones. This prestigious honor recognizes Ms. Jones for her extraordinary dedication to the veterans and their families through her nonprofit organization, Heroes in Transition. The organization provides services to veterans that are not covered by government programs, like emotional support animals and family support. The award ceremony will be on May 29th at 7 p.m. at the 1717 Meeting House in West Barnstable.
The Cape Cod Commission is seeking community members to join the Vision Zero Advisory Committee to help shape the future of transportation safety on Cape Cod. Vision Zero is a strategy to eliminate traffic injuries and fatalities among all road users. The Vision Zero Advisory Committee will create a plan to address bicycle and pedestrian safety, disability accommodations, public transit solutions, connecting minority and underrepresented communities, and youth safety. If you're interested in being a part of this conversation, email Transportation Program Manager Colleen Medeiros at transportation@capecodcommission.org by June 1st.
And lastly this evening, we're going to send it to Ryan Downs with a recap of this week in sports.
Welcome back to the Cape Media News Sports segment. I'm your host and local sports guy, Ryan Downs. It's week 7 of the spring season, which means there's only 1 week left of the regular season before postseason begins. Leading things off this week, Cape Media News jumped out of our comfort zone and was in attendance for a sailing match between Barnstable and Nauset at the Hyannis Yacht Club this past Tuesday. For those interested in sailing, I apologize, because this was my first time witnessing competitive sailing, and I was really unsure of what was happening, but it was awesome. So there was 5 races that took place, and each school had 3 boats with 2 people per boat. There were various buoys or markers placed throughout the water. The races were usually a down and back type of scenario, but the course seemed to vary each race. So the sailors would have to face the wind and chop in different directions each heat. The 6 boats would round up in a start area before taking off, and once the race started, the first to finish would receive a point for the team. Barnstable defended their home and took the match 4-1. We were also able to catch a baseball game on Wednesday night as the Red Hot Red Hawks hosted Fairhaven. It was raining on and off all day leading up to the game, but was never heavier than a sprinkle throughout the 7 innings. It was a close competition that came down to the wire. Sladen Johnson pitched another fantastic complete game, picking up another win and 7 strikeouts in the process. Barnstable's reigning MVP, Jack Tarbock, scored the go-ahead run to make it 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning off a Luke Harmon ground ball fielder's choice play that ultimately cost Fairhaven the game. Johnson came out and shut the door on Fairhaven's chances in the 7th, as he recorded all 3 outs in the form of catching an infield fly ball, fielding a bunt, and finishing the game blowing smoke past the batter. Barnstable has a record of 13-3, and with only 3 games left, they're moving on to the postseason. Now let's get into the weekly scores summary. Overall, Barnstable had a great week. Their varsity teams combined for a record of 17-10 this week, with golf and volleyball being undefeated. Teams looking to move forward in the postseason standings currently include baseball, boys and girls lax, boys and girls tennis, and volleyball. DY finished another lackluster week, combining for a varsity record of at least 4-16 this past week. They currently have 3 teams qualified for the Division IV postseason due to rankings placement, but their records would show otherwise. Baseball sits at 24 with a 6-10 record, girls lax at 28 with a record of 5-7, and boys tennis just barely sneaking in with the 31st spot and a record of 3-10. So as long as these teams don't fall out of the top 32, these 3 teams will move forward in the postseason. And I feel like a broken record whenever we get to this part of the score summary. But once again, Monomoy dominated the competition this week as they combined for a record of 19-4. Softball, boys lax, and girls tennis all went undefeated this week with a combined record of 10-0, while baseball, girls lax, and boys tennis lost only 1 each, combining for a record of 9-3. The other loss came from the golf team, as they lost their 2nd match of the season, again to Barnstable. They finished the year with a record of 10-2 and co-champs of the Cape and Islands League with Barnstable. It's also worth mentioning the softball team is on an 11-game win streak, and the girls' tennis is on a 6-game win streak. And once again, all 6 of Monomoy's playoff-eligible teams currently hold spots in their respective bracket, including baseball, softball, boys and girls tennis, and lax. Nauset comes in just a few games under 500 this week, as they combined for a record of 11-16. On the bright side, their baseball team went 4-0 this week, outscoring opponents 32-4. After losing 3 consecutively to start off the month, they have now won their 5th game in a row. If the postseason were to start tomorrow, baseball, boys and girls lax, and tennis would be moving on. And that's it for this week's sports update. Back to you, Lauren and Mitch.
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a story that you would like to see covered, go ahead and send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org.
And tune in every week for more hyperlocal news that matters on Channel 26, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV.
Be sure to follow us on all of our social media, including Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. For Cape Media News, I'm Lauren Williamson.
And I'm Mitch Sott.